All right, all right. I think we're good to go ahead and start here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. And welcome on in. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Wednesday and a good week so far. We're halfway through, and it already feels like it's been forever. Hello, Wonju. Welcome on in. Good to see ya. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. But yeah, it's it is. I'm trying to think. I feel like it's weird. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 days since we last streamed. Even though nothing like too crazy has happened like in between. Uh, Mostly it's been me getting ready for. Well, it's me working my regular job and then getting things ready for the April Fool's stream that we have planned next week. Which, yeah, actually, yeah, that's, oh my god, that's 1 week from today. Oh, wow, that just hit me. That just really hit me. That it's only 1 week away. So, yeah, so next week's stream, if you can be here, I highly recommend it because it's going to be a special one. I'm going to be doing something a little different. And it's just going to be, all I'm going to say is it's going to be pretty fun. And I'm very much looking forward to it. All right, and let's see what else is. I'm trying to think. I mean, okay, I will say. Also, last week, I did have to. I did unfortunately have to leave stream like a little bit early. And I didn't get to research everything that I wanted to. Because we did have I did have some stuff I had to do, just some personal stuff I had to take care of. But since then one other thing I did do is research some of the areas that we weren't able to on Sunday stream. Specifically looking at newspapers from a 20-year period that we kind of had to skip. When we were researching Leslie Chase, when we were researching her on Sunday. And I'll share that in just a second when we get to our other screen. But it is crazy that, like, I'll just say that, like, of the things that we found, I'm shocked that, like, it was probably one of the most interesting things that we could have found on that stream. And of course, I find it off stream because, of course, that's what happens. But yeah, let's see. Oh, yes, and also we have our we've also had our YouTube short. So I want to first of all, I want to thank everybody for the support on that. That's been doing pretty good. In fact, let me go ahead and link it here. Here we go. Let me get the link here. Okay. There we go. So yeah, so that's my newest YouTube short that I made. I'm actually really happy with it. It turned out, I think, really well. But it was, I mentioned this on Sunday. It's my longest short I've ever made. It's practically not a short. It's almost 3 minutes long. So I'm very happy that it's doing as well as it is. Because I was nervous that, like, because it is so long that, like, it wouldn't do nearly as well or people wouldn't be as interested in it. But turns out I was wrong. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for the support on that. Also, another thing, speaking of YouTube and also Twitch, also on Sunday, it's crazy. We did both of these in the same day. We reached 150 subscribers on YouTube and 150 followers on Twitch on the same day, which is crazy. So again, thank you guys so much, for all the support with all this. This is going way longer and further than I honestly ever thought that this would. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support. It's been great to see that there are other people who think that this is interesting and something that they would actually want to watch. Because honestly, when I started this, I did not think that was going to happen. When I started on this journey about a year, about a year and a half ago, technically, roughly. That's about how long it's been, but yeah. Ooh. But yeah, it's been really cool. So, and I'm hoping, I think we can do it. I think we can do it that hopefully by the end of this stream, we'll be at 149 followers. Because sometimes that's what happens. But yeah, so thank you guys again so much for the support. Really, really appreciate it. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about? I don't think so. Let me go ahead then and let's pull up. Let me pull up what we're going to be researching today. First, let me shrink myself down here and get ready for a Victorian child jump scare. All right. So, if you have not seen this photo, or if this is your first time here, basically I am trying to find and research everybody in this photo from 1888. I'm trying to find everybody in this photo. There's 24 people in total, 24 kids, and so far we have researched 14, which oh wait, hold on, hold on, okay. We've researched 14 of them. So that means today we are researching
number 15.
I hope that worked. I hope that bit worked because I'm going to be doing it a lot today. Get ready for that. Get ready to be annoyed by that. But but yes, today we are researching
number 15 burger.
God dang it. Forgot to cut it off in time. Yes, okay, good, it worked. Glad that it didn't. I'm sure it played off super well. If I was smart, I would have planned it further ahead by having it set up with my Stream Deck, having the sound alert, but unfortunately I forgot to do that. So I'm just playing a YouTube clip. But yeah, so last time we researched number 14, who according to the back of the photo here, oh, by the way, yes, on the back of the photo has the name of every single person in this photo. So we've been using this to basically do all of our research. And currently we did number 14. And today we are going to be doing
number 15.
Lillian Heckman. That is who
number 15
is. Are you tired of this joke yet? Because I'm not. All right. So yes, so that's who we're going to be researching today. Number 15, Lillian Heckman, who you see right there. However, before we research her, we are going to do one quick thing. Like I said before, I wasn't able to fully research our previous person, number 14, Leslie. I wasn't able to research all of her stuff. last time because I had to leave stream early. So I want to share with you some of the things that I found after stream on that day. So let's go ahead and let's go to our classroom. All right. Okay, so this. So yes, so Leslie Chase is who we researched last time. We were able to find all of the main information that we needed to about her. We found out, that she was the daughter of a doctor, was born in Tacanic, and at one point was a stenographer before she married a man by the name of Jesse A. Briggs. She then moved to the next county over, to the town of Wilkes-Barre, and lived only to be unfortunately 49, which, is still, it's not young, but still, compared to some of the, and it's definitely older compared to some of the other people we've had who have died really young from this photo. But I want to share with you one of the crazy things, or some of the crazy things that we found last stream. So this is the first one. I found this like almost immediately after stream, or after I started researching this again the next day. And that is, all right, let me just read this here. This is Leslie, this happened to her. Fell from a porch. Mrs. Jessie A. Briggs, who fell from the porch at her home, 73 Davis Place, last Sunday, and sustained serious injuries, was resting comfortably last evening. Miss Briggs lost her balance while standing on the porch and fell backwards to the ground. Her back and ankle were sprained. God, a sprained back just sounds awful, especially during this time. When like supports and braces and stuff like that are gonna be like awful. Because this is 1911. Actually, yeah, it's gonna be even worse than I was initially picturing. It's gonna be like awful. The recovery for something like that is gonna be awful. And we saw the porch. We saw the house on Google Earth that this would have happened at. So she like it was not because it's the porch. It's not. They're not saying the second floor. They're saying from like the porch, which was like a little high. So that's like going up to the front door, kind of a porch. So not too high, but like I'm guessing she fell. It says she fell backwards. So she fell onto her back, which means she also probably hit her head too, which also probably didn't feel that great. So yeah, so that was the first thing I found, which is, is interesting. But then like 6 months later, I discover this article, and it has to do with her husband, Jesse A. Briggs. This is when he was working for the county clerk's office. And this is an article about something that he did while he was running for a different local office, like a city office. And I'll just go ahead and read this here. So Jesse A. Briggs, an employee at the county assessor's office, has compiled a list, some 6,000, of people who have been witnesses in court and have neglected to collect their pay for services. It is estimated that Mr. Briggs' digging will cost the county about $20,000. A witness should receive his pay, but there is something wrong about the system which will allow thousands of dollars of debts to accumulate against the county. A man is subpoenaed to appear as a witness in a case. His compensation, as fixed by law, is $1.50 per day. When the county is through with his services, the witness calls for his pay and is told that is not collectible yet, as the case has not been finally disposed of. The witness leaves and either forgets about his pay or the expense of returning to get it is greater than the fees, and the matter is dropped. It seems that the county could take the names of witnesses with their addresses and when the cases are disposed of, send a check to the witnesses. and it is now the county has been saying money. Oh, wait, sorry. As it is now, the county has been saving money, but at the expense of people who can ill afford to lose the fees. A business system of handling the witness fees would solve the problem. Okay, so basically, just to sum up quickly what this means. So basically, he was working for this this office, and he compiled a list of all the witnesses who appeared in court cases who hadn't been paid for various reasons. And then he published that list in the newspapers. Now, on paper, this seems like, okay, this doesn't seem like that bad of a thing. Where's the controversy here? Well, it caused a controversy, all right, as told by this article 2 days later, where it says, may arrest Briggs on technical charge. Assertion made that he gained access to public records by deception. Clerk who prepared witness fees list holds his ground. So basically, they're saying that he was deceptive in how he acquired this information and therefore could be arrested. So we won't read this whole thing because it's a long one. But it's crazy. So yeah, and this is the list. This is the list right here. These are all the people in all these different townships, in all these different places, who were not paid. All of these people were not paid for serving as witnesses for various court cases. Let's go ahead and read this part right here. The publication in the Record yesterday of an additional list of names secured by Jesse Briggs of witnesses in criminal cases to whom money is due from the county for their services has further roused the ire of certain county officials and subjected Mr. Briggs to criticism, verbal abuse, and threatened arrest. Last evening, Mr. Briggs stated that he expected to be arrested this morning on some alleged offense of obtaining possession of the public records by deception. He has retained counsel to defend him should a warrant be issued, and instead of being frightened, says he is just beginning to fight for public right and injustice. Yesterday, over 50 persons called at the witness clerk's office demanding the fees due them as witnesses, but they were refused money on the ground that they could not be identified. Among the number were 2 women from Avoca. Mr. Briggs, who prepared the lists and who stated through the Record that he would assist all who sent him postal cards, was besieged during the day with applicants. He received nearly 200 responses, either personally or by mail, but when he gave the witnesses the names of their cases and presented claims, found that the county declined to pay the bills. Okay, yeah, so basically, they're saying that he used deception to get this list and everything like that, and to supply this list. And even though people have not been paid and are trying to contact the county office to get paid, they're still refusing to pay them. Even when Mr. Briggs gives them the information, like extra information about like their case number and what they did and like all that kind of stuff, proof that that's what they are, and they were still unable to get paid. So this is crazy that this was found. And then there was this part right here, witness clerks excited. So this was also in another article that I read, but I found it here as well. So I decided to pull up just this article because it's here, where R.D. Hamilton and George P. Dreyer, who are the witness clerks, who basically are like in charge of all of this, have become considerably stirred over the incident and issued a statement attacking the motives of Mr. Briggs. So yeah, so they came out and attacked Briggs for this. Okay, so it says, who is Jesse A. Briggs? Who is this noble lover of the common people who is so generously offering to help the downtrodden poor to obtain that which is legally due them from the county of Luzerne. Jesse A. Briggs, for whose services as a stenographer, the Board of Tax Assessors of the county is paying a salary of $125. The county has been paying him for a long time. He was in the employ of James M. Norris, the former county controller, and now that the statute of limitations is about to take effect upon a number of cases, the thing which little Jesse A. Briggs calls coincidence has become alive, and he is about to make known a great discovery to the many poor people of this county. His former boss made a record for himself while in office by holding up numerous people and not paying something as a recompense for obeying the mandates of the court. And according to the record, it amounts to $50,000. Mr. Norris should have paid a large amount of this money if he had thought it out according to law, but as he was thinking from a political economic standpoint, he did not pay them. Now comes Mr. Jesse A. Briggs with orders to call upon him for instructions. He knows why so many of these cases were held up and not paid. He wants to be proclaimed from the housetops as one of the very good and rigidly righteous candidates for the office of prothonotary. I actually don't really know what that is. I need to look that up. He wants to be known as an example of honest public service, and yet has kept his mouth shut for over 6 years until his boss got out of office. Then he becomes in with a wail about the poor witnesses who were not paid according to law. He even goes the trouble of falsely pretending to janitor Moses Solomon that he wanted to get into the witness clerk's office for the purpose of quietly addressing a large number of letters, and having gained his purpose, superstitiously goes through the books of the controller's clerk to find out the amount of damage that his former boss entailed upon the poor witnesses for the courts of Lucerne County, and this was done in the nighttime. The information he gives in the record was stolen and is not official. It may be true and it may not. Those who have witness fees coming to them need not present them to Jesse A. Briggs, nor address any postcards to him, because if they have anything coming, it is payable at the Luzerne County courthouse. The foregoing statements have been made because a certain reflection has been cast upon services of the present office force, and if any just claim comes into this office for payment, it will be paid, provided it has the sanction of the law, and no matter who the parties may be, special favors will not be given. And then they signed it at the bottom there. So they're basically saying that Briggs is only doing this because he wants to be seen as a good person, because he's going to be running for that office. He's going to be running for office soon. That's their reasoning. And they say here that, like, oh yes, we'll pay you if you come here, but this part of the article up here says that, you know, that they haven't paid people. So yeah, who knows what's actually the truth here. Now, unfortunately, this is as far as I got with researching this event. I didn't have time to really look, so I don't know. I don't think I don't think he was arrested, and I don't think this went anywhere, because he did end up serving more like county positions. So I feel like if he was like arrested or had some sort of record, he wouldn't be able to do so. But yeah, so that's what I found from our last stream, and it's crazy. That of course I find this, you know, right at the end. Or off stream. I find it all off stream, which is just so annoying, because I would have loved to have like discovered that and gone through it with you guys. But that's all right. Maybe we'll find something cool today. So like I said, today we are researching
Number 15.
Who is Lillian Heckman. And we are going to go ahead and start with Ancestry and just go from there. I remember, last stream, I believe it was, on Sunday stream, we Oh, wait, no. Heckman doesn't go there. Heckman goes here. We did find her in some newspaper articles with Leslie in our last stream. So we do know that she was there. So let's see what we can find. All right. Let's see. Okay, I don't see that many census records. Well, hold on. Actually, let's go back real quick. Because we did see this. I'm pretty sure this is her. It doesn't have a middle name. She doesn't have a middle name, unfortunately. So I think... Let's look at this real quick. Whoa, that's it? That's it? Her death certificate? But according to this, okay, so it does look like she died in 1908. So there actually would only be one record that she would be in, and that's the 1900 census. And look at this. Wait, I just realized George Heckman, her father, and her mother, Sarah, they both died before her. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so no parents, no siblings either, according to this. Hold on. Let's change that. And actually, hold on. We do know now, according to this, she was born 1884. Which I think does make sense, because that means she would be about 4 years old in this photo, which I think that looks about right, looking at her in the photo up there. So now that we know that for sure, yeah, the death certificate. There's only one census record? Oh yeah, but see, this says birth is 1889. Okay, there's this one. There's this Lillian Heckman, but this... Okay, no, this can't be... Actually, no, yeah, this can't be her, because she was born in 1889. That's a year after this photo. So that's not her. So then is this death certificate the only thing that we have? Okay, now there is a marriage record. Okay, hold on. Let's look at... Because, okay, 1908, she would be 24. She would be 24 years old. Let's look at this marriage record real quick and just make sure that this is actually her. Stanley. Oh, there we go. Okay, Austin S. Ruth. Born. Okay. They were both born 1884. Austin was. Oh, he's German. He's from Hanover, I think, and he's a bookkeeper. Lillian V. Heckman. Yeah, that's her. That's her. 1884. October 24th. 1906. And they're living in Tacanic at the time. Both of them are. Hey, pirate, welcome on in. Oh no, that sucks. I'm a major idiot. I managed to lock myself out tonight, the day my wife left the USA. Well, I'm assuming that you're typing right now that you were able to get back inside. Oh, man, that sucks. That, dang, you're gonna have the place to yourself, and then you locked yourself out of it. That sucks, but hope everything. You got back inside, which is great. I'm assuming that you're not just standing outside your house right now on your phone. Just got in. Okay, that's good. Oof, man, that is rough. That kind of there was one time, so I was in Europe actually. And I was doing this was my big, backpack throughout Europe. And I had a friend who was living in Germany. Locked myself out at 5:30, and it's 11. Oh my god, dang! Were you just chilling on your porch, or did you have somewhere to go? Are you friends with your neighbors, maybe? or just go to the pub? That's what people do in England, right? When you can't go anywhere, you just go to the pub. Dang, that really sucks. I did, went to a friend's and had dinner with him as well. Oh, that's nice. That's good. So you had somewhere to go. You weren't just sitting outside. Oh, and played some board. See, you had a lovely evening. You would not have had that lovely evening if you didn't lock yourself out of your house. So, maybe maybe it wasn't that bad, that you locked yourself out. Just make sure not to make it a habit. But like I was saying, I was visiting a friend in Germany, and staying at her place where she had roommates and stuff. And while I was staying with her for a few days, she gave me one of her key, because there was one point where I had to go back to her place without her, and she gave me the key and everything, and we were hanging out and everything was great. And then I had to fly from Germany to London, and I was and it was a night flight, I remember, and I'm at the airport in Germany. I've already gone through security. I'm at the gate waiting for my plane. And my friend messages me hey, do you still have my key? And then I realized oh my god, I still have the key on me. I basically stole my friend's key, and I was about to get on a plane to London. And then by the time I got to London, I think it was 10 p.m. or something like that. It was really late. So basically what I had to do was first thing in the morning. Oh, hey, Flora, welcome on in. Welcome. Great to see you. Great to see you. You're live early. Actually, oh, no, wait, no, I think I know what it is, Flora. We had daylight savings time in America about a week or two ago. That might be what it is. Because this is actually a different time. Yeah, this is still same time. So yeah, so that's what that is. Um, but yeah, so basically to sum up the short story short, um, I uh, I accidentally flew from Germany to London with my friend's house key in my pocket, and then the next day I had to go to the London post office, figure out how to use your postal system, and mail and express mail it to Germany. Um, to my friend, and surprisingly, it got there like the next day. Like even she was shocked. She was like, "Oh my god, it's here already." Thankfully, she did have roommates, so she wasn't like completely helpless. Like she had like no way to get inside. Um, yeah, Royal Mail success. Yeah, that was honestly, it was actually kind of fun because I had never used a post office in like another country before, so it was actually kind of cool to like get there. And I think I had to like ask one of the people there, like just kind of like stand there and just be like, "Help! I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not from here. I don't know how all this works." Um, but yeah, the um, it worked out fine, thankfully. But that was just something like pirate. When you said that you locked yourself out of your house, that's what that reminded me of. Um, yeah, they definitely pulled through with that. But yeah, so to fill in just real quick for those of you who have just joined, we are researching the girl above me right now. Her name is Lillian Heckman, and also with this stream, as you see with that number right there, she is
Number 15.
the 15th person that we have researched for this, which means I am going to be doing this
Number 15.
a lot today. So get ready to be annoyed by that. I've been waiting weeks to be able to do that. Yeah, Burger King foot lettuce. Oh god, the internet is so weird. I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with Royal Mail. I feel like every country has that with their postal service. Like I feel like that's a universal thing that people have with their like any type of like postal or government service like that. Because I can definitely say the same thing about the U.S. Post Office. So, but yeah. So, to summarize, just really quick. So you caught us right when we're kind of starting here, and unfortunately, there's not much because the only thing that I was able to find on initial searching was we found Lillian Heckman here. She was born 26th of May, 1884, which means she's 4 years old in the photo above me, roughly. But unfortunately, she passed away only on February 19th, 1908, when she was 24. Or sorry, 24. Or 23, actually. Also, if you look right here, we have information on her parents. And her parents also, unfortunately, both passed away when she was a teenager. Her father when she was 15, and her mother when I believe, she was 18. I can't find a census record for her yet. She's because the only census record we would have is the one from 1900, and she doesn't appear to be in it. But we did just find her marriage record. So we can see here that she married a man named Austin Ruth, who apparently was born in Hanover. I'm assuming Hanover, Germany, but unless there's a Hanover, Pennsylvania. Actually, wait, hold on. Is there a Hanover, Pennsylvania? There probably is, because there's so many German places in. Because there's so many German places in Pennsylvania. There is a Hanover, Pennsylvania, and a decent sized place. Okay, that's actually probably what it is. He's not German. He's not German. He's just from Hanover, Pennsylvania. That's what that is. Okay. Because, yeah, you see here. Where is it? There, yeah. Hanover, Pennsylvania. It's a little far, because that's Hanover. And up here is Tacanic. So that's pretty far. All right. Then we do have the newspaper records, and then the only other things we really have are her deaths. Or okay, we have this birth certificate. Could this be for a kid? Let's see. So this is Lillian Heckman, Tacanic, full name of child, A. Clarence, Ruth, male, second legitimate, yes. Date of birth, January 26. Wait a second. She died February 19th, that same year. I mean, this is just a theory right now, but it looks like she might have died from... Actually, wait, hold on. It probably says on the death certificate... Or no, wait, no, this is a birth certificate. It'll probably say on the death certificate what happens, but this is their son being born. Yeah, bookkeeper. Yeah, this is them. Yeah, and they're living in Tacanic still. They're still living in Tacanic. But it looks like... she might have died from complications from her birth. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. It's... If I just had to guess, because it's so close, that like maybe she was weakened and then she got sick or something like that, but there's only one way to find out, unfortunately, and that's to look at it, and that's really kind of the next thing we have here. So yeah, Miss Lillian Ruth, female, date of birth May 26, 1884, 23, 9 months and 7 days, married, Tacanic, Pennsylvania, housekeeper, George Heckman, her father, Sarah, is her mother. Wait, this isn't... The informant wasn't her husband. Oh my god, and the registrar, H.W. Lewis. This is the second time this has happened. H.W. Lewis is in the photo. H.W. Lewis is... is it this one? No. This one. That's number 2. Yeah, number 2 in the photo. That's Henry. Or Harry, depending on who you ask. But yeah. This is... What's crazy is that this is the second time this has happened. There was another death certificate that we saw for somebody else. I don't remember who. But there was another death certificate where he was the registrar for it. So, yeah, so he's the same boy in this photo ended up signing, you know, on the death certificates for 2 people so far in this photo. Yeah, that is a crazy coincidence. Crazy. 1884. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so date of death, February 19th, 1908. Tended deceased from January 26th to February 19th. Last saw them alive February 19th, 10:30. Oh, tuberculosis. Tuberculosis of intestines and stomach. Intestines and stomach. Wait, duration 1 year. So she gave birth while she had tuberculosis? She got pregnant. She got pregnant while... Oh, God. That's crazy. So it's a 1 year. Wait. Contributory. Something in confinement. What does that say? Isolation? No. What does that say? It creates the feeling that the world is so tiny, even though it surely wasn't that small. Yeah, it is great. Well, especially because this is a small town. This is a tiny town in the middle of Pennsylvania. So honestly, yeah, it's like that. It's like that. Oh, I said this last time. It's like that Offspring song. The kids aren't all right. To deliver with such protracted TB, yeah, honestly, that is insane. Especially in when is this? 1908. I mean, to have TB at that time period. Is this gestation? GESTATION? I think that's what that is. Hold on. Oh, gestate. Oh, okay. Yeah, gestation is referring to the birth. So they're saying that the birth and her carrying the baby made it worse. Oh, wait. So I mean, obviously tuberculosis is, I always thought of it more as like a lung disease. I never thought that like intestines and stomach. Hold on. Yeah, abdominal tuberculosis. That's apparently a thing. Yeah, abdominal tuberculosis is a type of exfoliatory tuberculosis which involves the abdominal organs such as intestines and abdominal lymph nodes. Jeez. For a moment, I thought they were giving TB the gout treatment. I'm not familiar with that, Flora. I'm not familiar with the gout treatment. Is it just like not doing anything about it? Kind of thing? Not familiar with that. Oh, for ages, everything was considered a form of gout until science advanced. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, that makes sense. So you were thinking that like tuberculosis of the intestines or stomach, they just thought like, oh, it was something else, but they just called it tuberculosis because that's what they knew. but apparently tuberculosis of the stomach is a thing. That actually is a thing that can happen. Okay, I see what you're saying now. So I think I've talked about this before on stream. But I do have a connection a little bit to TB. My grandfather on my mom's side, not long after him and my grandma got married in like the 40s, in like the mid to late 40s, he got tuberculosis and had to spend at least a year at a sanatorium. Sanatorium in the middle of nowhere. And when my grandmother passed away a few years ago, we found photos from when she would go and visit him, of photos of him in the sanatorium and of the sanatorium building and of the grounds. And then what I was able to do, that not long after that, I was able to go on a road trip around the US. And on that road trip, or before that road trip, I discovered that sanatorium, it still exists. The building still exists, and it's abandoned and like urban decay and falling apart and everything. And so on my road trip, I went back. I went there, and I was able to I may or may not, but if I did do this, I would have gone inside. And I was, and if I did go inside, I would have taken some photos in some of the same spots that my grandmother took those photos all those years ago. And I would have been able to basically do a then and now and walk in the same places that my grandparents did. If I did that. But I would never admit to breaking the law and trespassing on something like this. Because clearly I would never do that. Clearly. But that was so I do have a little bit of a, connection. How did it feel to not be there? It would have felt it was a kind of chilling experience because I would have been standing in some of the same, literally I was like some of the same spots as those photos. I'm pretty sure we're exact. And just seeing, because it like from the pictures that I saw online, it was very falling apart and decayed. Like I'm honestly surprised that like people go in there because it looked kind of dangerous. But yeah, it would have been a very kind of like emotional, surreal experience. And if I had shown those photos to my mom, she also would have felt like, very emotional seeing that and everything. But yeah, it was, so I do have that kind of connection to TB. Yeah, because that trip I was able to also, while not doing that, what I did do was actually go to a lot of places where my grandmother grew up, like the farm, because she grew up on a farm, middle of nowhere, in like the late 20s and 30s. She was the youngest of 15 kids. She was the youngest of 15 kids living in a farm, on a farm, in the middle of nowhere, Central America, like center of the United States. And while the house doesn't exist anymore, I was able to see the property because the property still exists. The land still exists. It has been developed, and just a few other places. And it was a very emotional experience to like be there, especially because um, it was just after she passed away. Um, so yeah, that definitely made it even more impactful at the time. Uh, but yeah, I mean, she grew up there. She basically lived there and grew up there. Her childhood years were during the Great Depression, living on a farm in the middle of the Dust Bowl. Um, and I remember her telling us stories about it, and the one story, like, I remember, the one that sticks in my head is that she remembers, like, the thing that she hated the most was the sound of the cows, like, crying out in the field because they were starving and dying, basically, and the sounds that they were, making. Like, that, like, stayed with her whole life. She and she also, um to the day she died, whenever she would eat something like an apple, for example, if she ate an apple, she would eat every part of the apple except for the seeds and the stem. Every single part. Because growing up in the Depression, you did not waste anything at all. You did not waste things. And so that was instilled in her at such a young age and throughout her entire childhood that that's all she knew. Um but yeah, so seeing stuff like this really kind of, hits me personally. That gratitude for what you had stayed with her for. Oh yeah, I mean, and I'm thankful also that my mom also used to say this too, that she was so thankful that her parents, not long after he got out of the sanatorium, they moved to the West Coast. They left the farmland and all that. And my mom was always grateful that we did not grow up there or live there or anything like that. Because, God, I mean, visiting it, for the family ties was cool. But my God, I would never want to live there. Because it is just flat nothing for miles. It's just insane how barren and just nothing but farmland or barren grassland for like ever, as far as the eye can see. But yeah. So so unfortunately it doesn't look like there's not going to be a lot of information here about Lillian, because unfortunately she didn't live that long. I mean, she passed away only a year and a half after getting married and a month after having her son. Um, let's look at her grave, because her grave is here. Yeah, 23, and yeah, buried in Sunnyside. Lillian Heckman, wife of Austin S. Ruth. Okay, and there is a little thing here. And then, oh yeah, and there's her husband. Austin Stein Ruth. Okay, and he did remarry. No! Oh my God. No, their son their son didn't survive either. Their son Clarence died that same year. And did they have another son? Did they have twins? Oh, man. That's horrible. Is there any info here on what? Twin son. She had twins. Oh my god, no wonder the pregnancy and the birth was hard on her. She gave birth to twins while having tuberculosis. And yeah, okay, yeah, he and his brother died about 2 weeks before their mother. Oh, man, so they didn't even... God, this is horrible for everybody. Ooh, wow. That is horrible, honestly. I think that might be like one of the we've come across some like, horrible, unfortunate, sad things doing research because I mean that's what happens when you do this type of research. It's not all going to be fun. Unfortunately, it is not all going to be like, fun, interesting stuff. Sometimes you do have to you get, somber and horrible moments like this. It comes with the territory. Oof. God, I can't even imagine what it must have been like for Austin too. I mean, obviously he did remarry, but man, he lost his kids, twin kids, and his wife in just like 2 weeks. Do we know when he okay, Nelly. Oh. Well, okay, we know they had to have remarried before 1919 because that's when Austin Jr. was born. How did the kids pass? Unfortunately, I don't know. It doesn't say it yet. We might find a newspaper article that talks about it, but it just says he and his both the twins passed away at the same time. And it says here they were only 4 days old. So probably some sort of complications with the birth, or it could also be that maybe because Lillian was so weak, they couldn't, feed them. She couldn't feed them. Because I think this is before, like, baby formula and stuff like that, and powdered milk. Yeah, and they also could have been, yeah, they also could have had complications or weakness because their mother had TB. Oof, wow. This is... Okay, yeah. Mr. Ruth was the only child of George M. Heckman and Sarah Catherine Terry Heckman. On 24th October 1906, she married Austin S. Ruth at the Parish Street M.E. Church in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. She died from tuberculosis at her home in Taconic at the age of 23 on February 19, 1908. Her fatal condition was exacerbated by having given birth to twin boys on 26th of January 1908. The infants died on the 30th of January 1908. Damn. Hmm. Okay. I want to see because there's hold on, wait. If this birth certificate is here, would the twin be? That's interesting. that on this like list that you would think that the twins would be like. Oh no, sorry, this is her death certificate. Where's the birth certificate? Marriage certificate, birth certificate. Okay, this is the birth certificate. So is their other kid like the next one? Yes, it is. Okay, yeah, this is Edward. Yeah. When was this signed? Yeah, January 26th. Okay. Oh yeah, and twin. See, they crossed out. They just crossed out these. They didn't like circle it or write it down here. I thought because I didn't notice that if that was on the other one. Okay, and first. So Edward was first. Legitimate, yes. I don't see anything here. I don't see anything here about like, oh, there were like noticeable like issues or complications or anything like that. Okay. And this one probably isn't showing up because the name right here is hard to read because it's into the like writing up here. Okay. Because the only other thing here are these like yeah. These newspaper records that we'll find earlier or find later. I want to see okay, can we look at George real quick? Okay, yeah, I want to look at. So this is the 1880 census. So this is before she's born, but this is when her parents are. Yeah. So George, Catherine, and Lizzie is his. Okay, Lizzie is George's sister. Yeah, 20. Catherine is 23. George is 30. What is that? Baggage? Baggage master railroad. He worked for the railroads doing. Okay. So he was like the guy in charge of. He was basically in charge of luggage for the railroad. And they're in Tacanic. Turnpike Street. I think the Turnpike is like this road, or it's this. This is probably the Highway 6 right here is probably what they're referring to as the Turnpike. But we don't have a like official like number. And then we do have okay, we'll see if we can find his birth certificate. Because we can't find any of them. Yeah, 1880 is the only one. Sarah, what if we try Sarah? What if we try looking up Sarah? For the 1900 census. And we know that she was born 1857. Whoa, wait, so there's nothing for Sarah Hickman? But there's nothing for census records. That's crazy that there's nothing for census records. This is the one that we already... Right? Wait. This is a different... This is a different Sarah Heckman. Okay, so yeah, that's a different one. Okay. So she's not there. I think we might just go ahead and go into newspapers, honestly, because it seems like there's not really much in terms of this stuff. Well, let's say, I say let's go into newspapers. We'll start with Lillian. 1884 to 1900. Wyoming County, Pennsylvania. All right. Sort oldest first. Okay, we got a few different ones here. And let me just check real quick. If we get rid of Wyoming County, there's a lot for Lucerne County? Okay. Oh, there's a lot more here than I thought. Okay, let's go back to Wyoming, though, real quick. Okay, so yeah, so the oldest one that we have is from June 1st of 1880. So the same... Wait a second. A number of little friends of Lillian Heckman gave her a birthday party last Saturday afternoon, and as good as usual on such occasions, they all had a grand old time. Vasily is now 5 years old. Hold on, wait. When was... The photo was taken in July, right? Hold on. Yeah, July 13th. So this newspaper article is about like a month before this photo was taken, where she had her own birthday party. This says that she's 5, though, which could just be a mistake, because she's 4. Because this says if her birthday party last Saturday afternoon. Her birth date was, yeah, May 26th, so that does make sense that this would be her birthday. And then, yeah, we don't get another one until 5 years later. Okay, yep. This is... We saw this on our last stream on Sunday. Leslie Chase. That's the person... That's the person that we researched on Sunday on our last stream. So yeah, I remember seeing this. So yeah, so they were... looks like they were friends. They were hanging out. They were doing stuff together. What about this one? Miss Maud Halleck of Buffalo visited at GM Heckman's during last week Returning home on Saturday, she was accompanied home by Lillian Heckman. Oh, so Lillian went with her. She's 9? She's only 9 years old at this point. And GM Heckman, that's Lillian's father. After we stop researching Lillian, that's probably who I'm going to look up next. I want to see if we can figure out what happened to him. Okay, and then 1894. This is another one with her and Leslie? Yep. Spent Sunday at the Courtright House in Wilkes-Barre in 1894. Okay. Oh, this is him. This is George. This is okay. This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay. George M. Heckman. George M. Heckman died at his home on Warren Street on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock in the 50th year of his age. Mr. Heckman had a severe attack of the gripe, from which he recovered sufficiently to once more attend his duties at the Lehigh Valley Station, although his friends and family realized that he should not be at work so soon. The result of his going out too soon was a relapse on Monday evening of last week, when he was taken with a severe attack of pneumonia, which resulted in his death as above. Deceased was born in Beach Haven, Luzerne County on July 2nd, 1849. Way back in the 60s, he came to Taconic and found employment on the canal and later with the Lehigh Valley Railroad Company, in whose employ he had been for about 26 years. In 1875, he was united in marriage to Miss Cassie Terry, who survives him with one daughter, Lillian. Mr. Heckman was an industrious man and held the friendship of all who knew him. In September 1874, he became a member of the Temple Lodge, F&AM, the members of which lodge attended the funeral in a body and conducted the services at the grave. Services were held at the house Thursday afternoon at 2:30 o'clock. Reverend H. Wilbur of the Methodist Church officiating. Interment was in Sunnyside Cemetery. Almost everybody so far that we've researched has been interned at that cemetery. Which, I mean, makes sense. It's the local cemetery, but, like... Okay, so, like, Lillian, we know she was interred there, too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... 11. So 11 of the 15 that we've researched so far are buried in this cemetery. So he had... What is that? Gripe? I've never... Oh, it's like... Okay, it's a type of influenza. It's the old term for influenza. Okay. So he had the flu. He had the flu, but he was a workaholic and went to work when he shouldn't have. And as a result, he got sick again, he relapsed, and then got pneumonia because he hadn't fully recovered and then died. Jeez. Just goes to show, don't be a workaholic. Your health is way more important than any work. And yeah, this makes sense. Lehigh Valley Railroad Company. He was according to that census record that we found, he was a baggage boy. But maybe at this point he had like moved up. Because this is like 19 years later. He might have moved up to like a different position, but yeah. Yeah. Never Always rest. Don't be like... I hate to say it, but like this reminds me of my dad, because my dad is the exact same way. If he gets sick, he just tries to... Like, he's just like, oh, I can just... Like, he can fight... Like, he thinks he can, like, you know, just, like, tough it out and, like, you know, do all that kind of stuff. That he can just, like, power through it and everything and, like, not get sick. Or just, like, if he works hard, then he'll get better. But I feel like that's a very dad thing to do. Alright, so this next one... Okay, 1899. Mrs. Lillian Heckman and Suella Gardner of Tacanic spent Saturday and Sunday with Rosetta Place. Okay. Yeah, I know people like that. They end up getting worse often. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my dad's tough. Unfortunately, he actually, despite how much we tell him not to do that, he actually does a lot of times get better. But, you know, all it takes is one time where you don't, though, and then that's the end of it. This is all... Is this the same one, just like a few weeks later, like of them returning? No, it's literally the same thing. It's the exact same... They just repeated it again. Okay, April 27th, 1900. This is Lillian Heckman of... Whoa, wait a second. Of Trumansburg, New York. Did they move? Is that the same? Spent the past week with friends here. Where's Trumansburg, New York? Okay, it's near the Finger Lakes. Okay, that's decently far. And they probably could have taken the train, but that's pretty far. But is that maybe why we're not finding her in the 1900 census? Hold on. Lillian Heckman, 1884. Trumansburg, New York. At 1900. Mother. Sick. Maybe this is it? Nothing. Maybe the county? No? Maybe they were only there for a very short amount of time. Maybe change the state? And let's have the year be like plus or minus 1 year. That's Manhattan, Austria. No. Okay, yeah, so none of them. Okay, so even though this newspaper article says they were in New York, apparently, I mean, yeah, they weren't there long enough to get that. Hold on, is this newspaper article looks like the same thing? Yeah, that's her visiting Wolfsburg. Okay, yeah, maybe it's a different. Yeah, Miss Lillian Heckman of Trumansburg, New York, visited friends in town Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, yeah, so they did move to. I think they did move to New York. But hold on. Okay, let's look at. What about the Luzerne County ones? Because they're all from like 1895 onward. A lot of them are repeats. And yeah, Mrs. Esther Carrington and Lillian Heckman are visiting Miss Chopin friends. Yeah, that's for Titanic. Yeah, that's just her visiting friends. 1896. Okay, yeah, that's Titanic. A pleasant party was given by Harry Prevost on Thursday evening at the home of his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Henry C. Prevost, to a number of the young people in town. The following were present. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Pearl and Blanche. We've researched Blanche already. We haven't researched Pearl yet, but both of them are in the photo. And Catherine, Ava, Fanny, two Fannies. Helen Terry. I think that. Wait, is Helen in the photo? Yeah, Helen Terry. Helen Terry is in the photo. That is her. That's probably her. Helen Terry, Minnie Frey, Katie, Hitterich, Asa, Fred, Norris, Everett, William. Okay, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, Helen Terry. That's Ruth Terry's sister. Those are all the same article. 1897. Is this also... Yeah, Titanic. Members of the A and B classes of Miss Evelyn Carlin's room have been having some interesting contests in spelling for the past 3 weeks, and the B class are decidedly happy, for as one of the brightest of the B class boys said, "We whipped them bad twice and tied them once. And what do you think of that? We think that is pretty good, and have hope that they will keep right on." Dang. Saying that he basically destroyed them in spelling. The members of this bright and pugnacious B class are... Yeah, millions there. Anybody else recognize? No. Well, okay, Frank Lighton. That's Bessie Lighton's brother, I'm pretty sure. But I don't recognize anybody else. Okay, what about this one? Let's see. The entertainment given at the Eatonville Methodist Church on Friday evening was the most successful ever held at that place. The building was filled to overflowing, Titanic furnishing a large portion of the audience. The program reads as follows. Okay. These other names before we get down to... Let's see. Read among the number who attended from Titanic. Oh, okay. So she wasn't even performing. She was just attending. There she is, yeah. Lillian Heckman right there. And yeah, I don't recognize anybody else. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. This is in August. Miss Catherine Gearhart and Miss Adelaide McCone chaperoned the following party of young ladies up the river yesterday for a day's outing. Lillian Avery, Blanche and Pearl, okay, are there, and Lillian, Penny Star, and Helen. So yeah, so that group, I am noticing, yeah, that there are some like certain groups that like definitely did hang out together more than others. Like Lillian, the Dietrich sisters, and Helen seem to have been pretty a closer group. Okay, how about with this one? Lillian Heckman is visiting in Wilkes-Barre at the home of R.B. Courtwright. Okay, I feel like... Okay, this is 1898. June 1898. Miss Lillian Heckman returned on Saturday evening from Wilkes-Barre, where she spent the past week visiting with friends. Okay, so she is still living in Taconic at this point, in 1898. Well, actually, no, she has to be, because her father is still alive. This is before her father's passing. What about this one? On Friday evening, a party of young people organized a sleighing party and drove up to Vosburg, where they spent a few hours with Miss Rosetta Place. A couple of the boys walked a good portion of the way coming home, possibly on account of the conditions of the roads. Among them at the party were, okay, yeah, the Dietrich sisters, Lillian, Miss Borden, Everett Borden, Ed Brown. Okay, yeah. Okay. On Friday evening, a party of young people organized a sleighing. Oh, this is the same thing that we just read. That's literally just the same article that we read again. Okay, what about this one? You have a party in honor of her sister at the Brown residence. Oh, wait, at the Brown residence? Oh, wait, Mrs. Aaron Brown. That's a different Brown family. Because I found in my research that there were multiple members of the Brown family. Elizabeth Lighton. Marion Lighton. Okay, yeah, Marion Lighton is in the photo. Those present were Phyllis Avery. Yeah, Helen Terry. Mabel Lewis. Eleanor. Oh, yeah, wow, look at all this. Yeah, there's a couple people here. Okay, yeah, Lillian Heckman. Eleanor Metcalf, whose birthday party is being celebrated in the photo that I have. Eleanor Metcalf is the birthday girl in the photo. Mabel Lewis, Marion Metcalf, and Helen Terry. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 people from this photo are mentioned in this newspaper article. From the looks of it. Okay. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna use this one because it's the same article, but it's better quality. It's better quality and way easier to read. Sometimes that's just what you have to go with. Okay, this is another party. Party of young people went up on Montrose Railroad last Wednesday morning to Kearns Glen, where they spent the day picnicking. In the evening, they returned in the Ace bandwagon about 8 o'clock. They report an enjoyable time. Those at the party were as follows. Okay, yeah, Helen Terry, Eleanor Metcalf, the Dietrich sisters, Lillian Heckman, Fanny Stark and Fanny Depew, Wilbur. Mrs. Dr. Murray went along as chaperone, accompanied by Miss Mary Shook. Okay, yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, yeah, again, 5 people from the photograph in this same one, or in the same article. What about this one? What does this say? Miss Lillian Heckman and Edna Keithline are spending a few days in Buffalo. They also will take a trip to Niagara Falls. Oh, look at that. They got to go see Niagara Falls. That's nice. Let's see. Okay. Miss Jessie Billings entertained a number of friends last evening. Among those invited were... Okay, yeah, Lillian's there. Pearl, the Dietrich sisters are there. Marion Lighton is there. Helen Terry is there. Eleanor Metcalf is there. Jeanette Fassett. That's another person in the photo. Hold on, wait. How many... Wait, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think this is a record. I think this is a record right here of like number of like people from this photo in one place. Because Lillian, and then yeah, Marion Lighton, Helen Terry, Eleanor Metcalf, and Jeanette Fassett. That's, hold on. Oops, nope, sorry. Didn't mean to Victorian child jump scare you. Yeah. Pearl there, Eleanor there, Marion there, Helen Terry. Yeah, Jeanette Fassett, Helen Terry there. Yeah. All right. That is crazy that many... 7. Yes, 7 is a crazy amount of people. I didn't... Wait, did I accidentally... Hold on. No, I didn't. Okay. Alright, yeah, I think we're good. Hello, Aeon. Welcome on in. Hope you're having a good evening. You caught us in the middle of researching number 15 above me. Her name is Lillian Heckman. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot on her. And a little bit of a, you know, I guess we got a bit of a trigger warning with this one because it is a heavy subject. Because we did discover that unfortunately she passed away at the age of 23 after giving birth to twins, and unfortunately, her twins also didn't survive either. So it's a bit of a heavy stream today. I was, I started the stream making jokes about like number 15 and doing the Burger King foot lettuce thing, but now it kind of doesn't seem appropriate to do that anymore. All right. We're finding some stuff of kind of like her growing up here before she gets married. What is this one? Okay, yeah, so this confirms it right here. Look. So Lillian Heckman of Chelmsford, New York, daughter of the late George Heckman. So that confirms it, that this Lillian Heckman is the same one. So they moved to New York for a little bit. I don't know how long, but they did. Yeah, that's her visiting. We're visiting friends. Okay, here we go. June 14th, 1900. Oh, wait, what is this? There is a club of 18 young ladies in town called the TG Club. Now, just what TG means, they have never told. But from the best authority, it is said was intended for Too Giddy when first adopted. However, these young ladies have arranged to entertain their men friends on Friday evening on the lawn of something C. Burgress and extend to them this cordial invitation. The TG Club do you invite the Burgess lawn on Friday night, and our dainty veins partake, so please, boys, make no mistake, but be on hand at 8 o'clock if you would join our little flock. The club is composed of the following members. Okay, Ruth Burton. Okay, the Dietrich sisters are here. Marion Leighton is there. Helen Terry is there, and Lillian is there too. So yeah, so that's, I like that. I hope it does stand for Too Giddy. TG, the Too Giddy Club. That's fun. And they're basically asking like all these boys like, "Hey, come hang out with us." They're inviting them to an event. All of them aren't married, so cuz they're all teenagers. Lillian's 16. Oh wait, is this the same article but like a better format of it? Oh, this is okay, wait, hold on. This is the event. This is the event that they're referring to in that other one. The reception given last Friday evening on the lawn of FC Burgess by the TG Club proved to be as enjoyable as had been anticipated. The lawn was lighted. That feels wrong to say. Lighted by Japanese lanterns, but on account of the chilly weather, the company was obliged to adjourn to the house for a portion of the time. Among the invited guests were Ed Brown, Delmar Snocker, Dick Burden, Fred Wilbur, and Percy Stark, John Borden, Dead Voice, Frank Lighton, Fred Barlow, William Brader of Wilkes-Barre, and William Sperry. Okay, yeah, so that's not none of the guys that I recognize are any of the like maiden names that I recognize. Club members present. Yeah, Lillian was there. And then the Dietrich sisters were there. Marion was there. Okay. Just okay, that's the same article. This looks like a different one. What is this? Oh, this is her. Okay, wait. Invitations are announcing the marriage of Frederick Barlow and Miss Rosetta Place. To this place at Miss Place's. to. Whoa, hold on. Okay, this is a crazy sentence. Hold on. Wait. The marriage of Frederick Barlow and Miss Rosetta Place to take place at Miss Place's home. It's a lot of place. What a name. Home at Vosburg on Thursday, September 27th. And Lillian Heckman was a bridesmaid. Okay. So yeah, and we've seen several other articles so far of her visiting Rosetta. So they were close friends. She visited several times. Is this just her visiting? Yeah, that's just her visiting. Okay, what's this one? Trumansburg is spending the holiday with friends here. Okay. Okay, so let's change the years here. 1901 to 1910. Oh, whoops. Nope, not 19,010. Okay, so we got 30. Let's actually hold on. Let's change it. Let's get rid of that real quick. Yeah, let's do the Wyoming County ones first. Okay, so the first one we got January 1901. Miss Lillian Heckman of Trumansburg, New York, is visiting friends here at the home of her girlhood days and attending the Teachers Institute. Okay, so maybe she was a teacher. That seems to be a very common thing amongst a lot of the women in this photo, that they become teachers before they get married, which was very common at the time. Okay, Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayre visited friends here the latter part of the weekend. Or latter part of last week. Okay, so she moved to a different... She's not there anymore. She's somewhere else. Is this the same thing? This one? Miss Lillian Heckman of Truman's visiting friends, place where she spent her... Okay, yeah, no. That's just the same thing, basically. April... Okay, yeah. Same type of thing. It's all just her visiting friends. It's all just articles about her visiting friends. Yep. Yeah, still visiting friends. Okay, here we go. August 15th, 1902. What is this? The Utah camping party at Lake Winola, consisting of Mrs. Sula Gardner, Francis Tomei, Ruth Burton, of Tacanic, Lily Heckman, Sayer, Fairchild. Okay, yeah, no, that's... She's the only one here in this group that I recognize. Is the gardener this week? No. Let's see. Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayre is visiting the home of Judge E.P. Oh, E.P. Phillips. Or E.M. Phillips. E.M. Phillips is the person who helped became a guardian of Leslie in our last search when we were researching Leslie. Okay, what about this one? Lillian Heckman of Sayre will make her home. Oh, whoa! Wait a sec. Look at this. Hold on. Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayre will make her home with Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips in this place, while she is taking a course in stenography and bookkeeping with Miss Lydia Osterhout. Whoa, that's okay. E.M. Phillips took care of both. That's crazy. She took care of both Lillian and Leslie. He took care of, because Leslie's father passed away when she was young. And while her mother was still alive, it appears from the newspapers that she had trouble supporting her. And so E.M. Phillips helped them and became a legal guardian of Leslie. So E.M. Phillips helped two people on this list, and those two people happen to be right next to each other. Leslie and Lillian. Again, just showing how so many people are connected. Wow. So yeah, and because this is 1903. This is after her mother passed away. So she's technically an orphan right now. I mean, she's technically not an I don't know if legally she's 19 at this point, but still. Okay, what's this one? This is 1905. Mrs. Terry was formerly a resident. Oh, wait, this is Elizabeth Terry. Was brought here for burial on Sunday, the funeral being held at the M.E. Church by Reverend H.H. Wilbur. She died on Thursday evening at the home of her son, Charles Terry. Death was due to infirmness of age. She was 73. Miss Terry was formerly a resident of Tacanic, living at the home of her daughter. Oh! Mrs. George Heckman, on the present site of Brown and Facet's mill. She moved to Sayre about 5 years ago. She's survived by her son Charles and two grandchildren, Helen Terry and... Oh! Helen and Lillian are... They're cousins! Wait, hold on, wait. If we go back to Sarah... Oh! Sarah... Her mother's maiden name was Terry. I didn't catch that. Okay, so that's another family relation we have on here. Lillian is... Yeah. Lillian and the Terrys, because Ruth Terry is up here. Right here, yeah. Yeah, Charles E. Terry. Actually, no, that means Lillian is also technically a cousin too, because Emma... So, the Terry's mother was family with the Metcalf's mother. I'm gonna have to make like a family tree, like with to figure out all these connections. Because Marion and Ruth are cousins, or the Metcalfs and the Terrys are cousins on their mother's side, and Ruth and Lillian are cousins on Lillian's mother and Ruth's father's side. So that's separate though from the Metcalf family. Because the Metcalf family is also related to the Lewis family as well. Wow, there's so many. It's a small town. So many cousins. Everybody's related somehow. Okay, so that explains probably more why they were at this party. Okay. Let's see. So that was that. That was actually very helpful, discovering that. Okay, March 8th, 1906. Sire Times. Miss Lillian Heckman of Desmond Street has gone to Morris Park, New Jersey, where she will enter the state hospital and study to be a trained nurse. Miss Heckman is well known in the city, having been an operator for the Bell Telephone Company at the local exchange for some time. Wow. Okay, so she was... Okay, so she was learning to be a... So in the other thing, she was learning to be a stenographer. Then she became a telephone operator. And now she's trained to be a nurse. Oh, I hope that's not where she contracted tuberculosis. That would be so disappointing if that was the case. But that honestly might have been the case. Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayre spent the Sunday... Okay, with Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips. Okay. Miss Lillian Heckman has engaged as night operator at the Taconic and Wyoming Valley Telephone Exchange. She formerly followed the same vocation at Okay, so she became a telephone operator again. Okay. It's the same article. Okay, this is July. Bishop Ethelton Talbot of this Episcopal Diocese was here on Monday evening and conducted services at the church on 2nd Street. He confirmed 2 candidates, Mrs. E. Ray Flower and Miss Lillian Heckman, after which he preached a plain, interesting, and practical sermon from the text, "Make me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." The churches here and at Springville are being served now by Wallace Martin, the bright young theological student, but the bishop stated that he hoped to send a permanent rector soon. So she joined this church. The Episcopal Church is what I'm assuming what they mean by candidates. I'm not familiar with that church, so I'm not entirely sure what their practices are, but yeah. That's the same one. Okay, this one's September 27th, 1906. Oh, is this a wedding? Vaughn and Hatfield. Pretty wedding at West Taconic. This made to Corey Vaughn. Hill. Okay. After congratulations were over, an elegant lunch was served. Miss Fanny Stark, Miss Elizabeth Stark, Miss Leia Bushnell, and of Auburn, Miss Lillian Heckman, and Mr. Floyd Kellogg, Eric and James Field. Okay, so she just attended a wedding and helped out in the looks of it. Telephone connection. What is this? Oh! Oh! Look at this! This is how they met. This is how she met her husband. Austin S. Ruth, bookkeeper at the Tacanic and Wyoming Valley telephone office, and Miss Lillian V. Heckman, switchboard operator at the same place, took their friends somewhat by surprise yesterday by going to Wilkes Bar and getting married. Wow, so it was a complete surprise. Reverend H. Wilbur, pastor of the Paris Street Methodist Church, performed the ceremony. They then went to New York for a wedding trip. But that's okay. So that's how they met. They worked at the same place. They worked for the same telephone company. That's sweet. I mean, I don't know how long they knew each. I mean, she had been working there for a while. It seemed like. It seemed like he was working there for a while. Wow. That's kind of sweet. Is this the same? Okay, yeah, this is kind of the same. It's not exactly the same. Austin S. Ruth, who is bookkeeper for the Tacanic and Wyoming Valley Telephone Company at this place, and Miss Lillian Heckman, who also worked for the same company for some time, were quietly married at Wilkes Bar on Wednesday by Reverend H. Wilbur, former pastor of the ME Church at this place. They went to New York for the wedding trip and to make their home here after their return. Okay, yeah, so that's a little bit more information, but it's basically the same. Oh, man. Oh, damn, yeah. Twin baby boys were born to Mr. and Mrs. Austin S. Ruth on Sunday morning. Mrs. Ruth was formerly Miss Lillian Heckman. Since recording the above, one of the babies has died Thursday morning, and the other is very sick and not expected to recover. Yeah, unfortunately, we already knew that. That has to be a horrible thing to, like, read in the paper like that. Especially if you're, like, a friend of hers or... Because also... Oh, okay, so they got married in October 1906. Okay, so yeah, so she... This is January. So she wasn't a nurse. Okay, so she didn't get TB from... Because we read that article about her attending nursing school. That obviously didn't work out because she ended up going back to the telephone company and working there. Okay, yeah, and then these last ones are her obituaries. Mrs. Austin S. Ruth died at her home on Pine Street yesterday at 10:30 a.m. of tuberculosis of the bowels. She had been ill for some time, and her death was not unexpected. Twin babies were born to her about 2 weeks ago, but both of whom died. Her maiden name was Lillian Heckman, and she was a bright, lovable woman of only 23 years. Sincere sympathy is extended to the husband, who is so sadly bereft. I mean, I can't imagine. Arrangements for the funeral had not been made when this paragraph was written. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine going through something like that. Okay, here's a longer one. Mrs. Austin S. Ruth of this place, formerly Miss Lillian Heckman, died at her home on Wednesday morning, February 19th, 1908, about 11 a.m. She had been ill for some time, and her death was not unexpected. About 2 weeks ago, she gave birth to twin boys, both of whom died the same week when the week they were born. She has since then she has been very ill, and her death occurred as above stated. Mr. Ruth had been employed at the People's Telephone Exchange at this place for several years, and has the sincere sympathy of the people here in her bereavement. The funeral will be held at his late home on Pine Street on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. She would have been 24 years old on the 6th May next. Interment will be in Sunnyside Cemetery. She was the only child of the late Mr. and Mrs. George Heckman, both of this place. Okay. Let me change the county real quick. Let's go to Luzerne County real quick and just see if there's anything super new here. Most of these looks like are just kind of her visiting or going on trips. Following party of young people will leave today for Lake Winlow. Oh yeah, this is the one we already saw that one in the other article. Oh wait. Oh, this is her. Okay, this is her mother. This is her mother. The death of Miss Catherine, widow of George Heckman, a former baggage master on the Lehigh at Taconic, occurred at her home here of heart trouble. She is survived by a widowed mother, Miss Elizabeth Terry of Taconic, one brother, Charles Terry of this place, and one daughter, Miss Lillian Heckman, also of this place. The funeral will be held on Saturday morning at Taconic, where Mrs. Heckman spent most of her life and where she has a large number of friends. A short prayer service will be held at here this evening. Reverend H.M. Carvinwise officiating. Okay, yeah, so that's her mother. Yeah, because I didn't find any when we did that, when we searched on the Wyoming County ones. That's the same one. Let's see. Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayers entertaining the home. Okay, yeah. That's the E.M. Phillips. We already have stuff on them. What's this list? Okay. Among those from out of town who were in attendance for the funeral of Miss Arline Terry yesterday afternoon were, okay, yeah, and she's there along with her cousin, Helen, and her uncle Charles. This. Oh yeah, this is the. Okay, yeah, we already have this one. This is Blanche's wedding. Yeah, we already read that. When she married... Okay, I can't 100%... Oh, okay. So when we research Blanche, you can see here he's marrying somebody named Professor Stanley E. Bracefield. And I can't 100% confirm this, but I think she was his student. I think. Because he was a professor at a school that she went to, but I could not confirm that he was a professor when she was there. I couldn't confirm the exact years that he was at that school. I just saw that school on a list of places that he taught. So it's possible that's just a coincidence, but it's also possible that he was her student. But yeah, we already have this article. Anything here? Oh, okay, yeah, that's just her visiting Titanic. What about this? Visiting friends. Oh yeah, this is the thing where she was taking a course in... Yeah, Miss Lillian Heckman of Sayre is taking a course in stenography and bookkeeping of Miss Lydia Osterhout. While here, she will make her home with Honorable yet Mrs. E.M. Phillips. Okay, this is 1904. Museum Phillips, Miss Lillian Heckman, and a Fresh House spent Thursday. Okay, yeah, no, that's not anything crazy. What is this one? The Mechanic is well represented at Sayre, and the following persons have moved to that town. Okay, so this is when she moved there. 1904. I don't know if that means that she moved there right now, or this is just saying that, like, oh yeah, these are people who did live in Titanic, but now live here instead. Which, by the way, where is that? Sayre. I haven't seen Sayre. I'm assuming it's nearby. Oh, no, it's actually all the way up here. Oh, wow, okay. In Bradford County. Okay, so not as close as I thought. So that's where she's living during this time. What's this one? What? Whoa, whoa, wait, what? What is this? Man under her bed? New Kingston, Pennsylvania, August 8th. After looking under her bed nightly for 15 years, Miss Lillian Heckman found a burglar at last. He is under arrest, her screams having brought aid. A gold watch and 2 diamond rings, which he had stolen in the house, were found in his pocket. That is horrifying. My God. Just looking on, that's why I keep stuff under my bed. That's why I have boxes under my bed, so that way there's like no way for a person to hide under there. So I don't have to worry about that. Wait, New Kensington, is that? I'm assuming this is our same Lillian, right? Okay, maybe it's not, because this is so far away. I think this is a different Lillian. As crazy of a story as this is, I don't think this is her. Because this is August 5th. Or August 8th, 1905. Yeah, I don't think this is her. Oh, is this another thing for their wedding? Yeah, Ruth and Heckman. Whoa, I've never seen Austin. I've never seen Austin spelled like that. Ouston. Austin. That's a real screw up by whoever wrote that. Okay. Uh, okay, yeah, here's another thing about their marriage. Austin S. Ruth and Miss Lillian B. Heckman of Tacanic came to the city this morning and secured a marriage license and were later joined in wedlock by Reverend H. H. Wilbur at noon today. The couple were accompanied to the city by Mrs. Phillips, wife of ex-Judge Phillips of Tacanic, and the ring ceremony was used. The bride wore a traveling costume, and after the ceremony, they left on a wedding trip, and on their return will reside in Tacanic. So it was basically a courthouse wedding, is what they did. Kind of like a similar thing. It was just a sudden, and I guess, I guess it makes sense kind of for Lillian because her parents aren't around anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, look at this. This is another one. I mean, I think it seems like it was weird that, like, they did it so... Yeah. Stealing quietly away from their hometown, Austin S. Ruth and Miss Lillian Heckman, both of Tacanic, came here yesterday and were married by Reverend H. H. Wilbur. After the ceremony had been performed, Mr. and Mrs. Roth left the city on a brief honeymoon. They will reside at Tacanic. I like they stole quietly away from hometown yesterday. That's a good title. Hey, thank you for lurking, Flora. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. Probably going to bed soon, I imagine. Because it has to be pretty late for you. But yeah, hope you have a good rest of your evening and have a good sleep. What is it? Oh yeah, marriage license. Of course, yeah, lurking to sleep. Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night. Have a good sleep. Hope research is smooth. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, this has been smooth research because, well, unfortunately, there's not much really to look for in this case. All right. That's another marriage thing. A lot of marriage things in this one. Okay, yeah, that's the same article that we just read. And this one... the young couple were on a company, but Phillips' bride was attired in a traveling costume, and they departed on a wedding journey. Termination, which... Okay, yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff we've read already. Okay. Now, if I change it to Mrs. Austin Ruth... and change it specifically to from 1906. let's see here. We got Mr. and Mrs. Austin J. Ruth. Returned from their wedding tour on Tuesday afternoon. Mrs. Ruth had a position as manager at the Decanic and Wyoming Valley telephone system. Okay, yeah, so he was still working there after they got married. Oh, yeah, okay, so here, this is something with her being sick. Miss Austin Ruth is ill at her home on Pine Street with a severe bilious attack. Okay, so this is June, yeah, 1907 is when she started feeling sick. And then, yeah, these are... yeah, twin boys. Weighing 9 and 6 pounds, respectively. Yeah, and fortunately we know the... At this point, we know their fate, sadly. Yeah, and this is, yeah, and they passed away, unfortunately. And then, yeah, this is her, yeah, so February 21st. This is her death here. All right. Ms. Austin S. Ruth died at her home on Pine Street on Wednesday morning at the age of 24 years. Deceased was a native of this town, being a daughter of the late George Heckman, and her untimely demise will be mourned by everyone. She is survived by her husband. She has been dangerously ill for several days, but lately showed signs of convulsing. The danger was believed to be past, but Wednesday morning she sank into a stupor, from which all efforts failed to arouse her. Arrangements for the funeral have not yet been made. Dang. Yeah. I think this is probably just the same thing. Yeah, or it's just a really short one, no new information there. Hold on. What is this? Mrs. Joseph Courtwright of Plainsville, Miss Mabel Gay of Sayre, and Miss Lou France of Wilkesboro were among those attending the funeral. See, I think this is the same one. I have her husband. Yeah, that's the same one that we just read. Yeah, okay, so that's it for that. Now, if we change that to Wyoming County. Okay, here we go. So yeah, here's some stuff from 1907 that we didn't see before. Okay. These ones from 1907. It looks like it shows their... Mr. and Mrs. Austin S. Ruth will occupy the new residence of SF Globe on Pine Street when it is completed. Okay, so that's where they lived. Residents of SF Globe or Gobel. Sorry, not Globe. Gobel. It's getting to that point in the evening where I can't read. Okay, here's another one. The new house of Samuel Gobble on Pine Street is nearing completion. It has all the modern conveniences and will be occupied by Mr. and Mrs. Austin Ruth. Okay, actually, if we could find Austin in the if he's still living there, maybe we can find him in the in like the 1910 census. We can maybe figure out where that house is. Mr. and Mrs. Austin Ruth are moving to the new house. Okay, yeah. What about this one? Oh yeah, this is them with the Phillips. Wow, they were really close. I mean, they took her in basically, and Mr. and Mrs. Austin Roofs have returned from a visit to Mr. Roof's parents in Hanover, Pennsylvania. Okay, yeah, that confirms that he was from Hanover, Pennsylvania. Okay, yeah, that right there confirms it. Oh, is this a congrats one before? Yeah, twin boys, congratulations. This is before the news. Yeah, aw, man. Twin babies, while not so very uncommon, are still rare enough to excite some comment when they make their advent unheralded upon the mundane sphere. Our personal column this week records the fact that boys have been born to Mr. and Mrs. Austin S. Ruth. It is only a couple of months since the stork delivered duplicates to Mr. and Mrs. Benjamin Wright, barring the trifling difference that one of them is a girl. There are several pairs of twins in town. Yes, and one actually wait, yeah. Who was it? It was Marion Metcalf. She had twins. She had twins as well. Yeah, 2 of her 5 kids were twins. Yeah, that's the thing that we already read. Is this thing that she... Yeah, okay, this is the one that we already read. Okay, yeah, these are all... I think this one might be a little different. Hold on. Okay, this is for her funeral. The funeral of Miss Austin S. Ruth was held at the house on Pine Street at 2 p.m. Saturday, conducted by Reverend H. H. Wilbur of Wilkes-Barre, a longtime friend of the deceased. There was a large attendance, and the floral offerings were rich and beautiful. Burial at Sunnyside. Wow. Let's see. Okay. Next, I want to see if we can figure out... Okay, I want to... Actually, hold on. I want to see if we can find something for her birth. So if we search George, and specifically the year 1884... There we go. Look at this. This is her birth. A bouncing baby girl was born at the residence of George M. Heckman on Monday morning. That's her. That's her. Okay, and then the other thing I want to see if we can learn more about what happened to Austin. Let's see. Okay, at 1900. Oh wait, no. Oh no, I want 1910. Yes, 1910. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, he would be widowed at this point. Is he living York Street? Oh, yeah, he moved back to Hanover. Damn. Honestly, I don't blame him. He probably did not want to stay up there anymore. Oh, and he quit his job too. Because it says job, none. Or occupation, none. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't imagine again, like, what he must have been feeling or going through after that. But by the 1920 census, yeah, he's remarried and has another kid. And he's an insurance agent. Yeah, and he's living in Hanover. He didn't go back to Tacanic. Which, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense, Do we have their other marriage record? I don't see it. No. I mean, it was between 1910 and 1920. What about this World War I draft card? Is okay, if his second wife is listed on here, then we know. Yeah, insurance. Citizen. Okay, when was this signed? September of 1918. Okay, yeah. So by so between 1910 and 1918 is when they marry. And yeah, and they don't have a kid until 1920. It's possible that he might not have wanted to have a kid for the longest time. Because, I mean, after honestly probably the horrible trauma of what he went through, with him and Lillian, I don't blame him if he didn't want to have another kid for a while, if it took him a while to get over that. Okay. So now we do have an idea of what happened to him now. And yeah, we don't know what house they lived on Pine Street. Hold on. Austin Ruth. 1908 to 1910. Okay, so after February, after the death of Lillian. What's this one? Yeah, look at, oh man. This is the day after the funeral. Because this is the funeral, 1926, yeah. The funeral was, or earlier that week. So like a week later, he quit his job. Oh, because that's where they met. No wonder he left. Oh man, this is getting sadder. I thought we were gonna have a fun time and I was gonna make, number 15 jokes constantly through all this, but man, this is honestly, I think, the most like depressing story. Not just with this photo, but I mean definitely with this photo. But definitely but possibly in like all of my research. This is definitely up there. We have had some sad stories, but I think this one is just even, it gets like more and more. Because the fact that she was sick, then she got pregnant, then she had twins, then she lost the twins, and then she passed away, and then he basically ran, like he moved. He moved back home because he couldn't, I don't blame him for not wanting to stay there. But it looks like he would visit, though. Oh, and he's... Man, the Phillips seems so cool. Even after all this, he's still visiting them and everything. Man, I'm getting, like, teary-eyed, honestly. Oh, God. This is so... This is, like, the most emotional I've ever gotten with, like, one of these. God, the Phillips were so cool. They seem to be... I mean, like, the fact that they're still friends with him after all this that happened, and probably trying to help him. Yeah, and here he is, here again. Yeah, and he would come back every like few years or so. He would visit. Yeah, look, and Mrs. Yeah, they're like I like to think that they're supporting each other. Yeah, that's him visiting again in 1910. Oof. Wow. This has been a roller coaster of a stream. It really has. Oh, man. Trying to think if there's any other things that I want to look up before we move on. Oh, we did find that one article for her mother's passing, but I want to see if there's another one. Which was in 1902, I believe. Was it Catherine? I thought her name was Catherine. Oh, Sarah. No. Hold on, wait. When did she pass away? April of 1902. So let's just search Heckman. April and go to April. Here we go. Got it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is a this is a longer one. Okay, here we go. Death of Miss Kate. Kate, that's what she went by. Okay. Kate Heckman occurred at her home in Sire, at 12 o'clock Wednesday night, aged 48 years. Deceased was a widow of George M. Heckman, whose death occurred in this place on February 28, 1899. And she resided here nearly all her life until a few months after her husband's death, when she moved to Trumansburg, New York, and later on to Sire. Mrs. Heckman had suffered from rheumatism during the past winter, but was able to get about with the aid of canes, even on the day before her death, and retired that night feeling apparently as well as usual. But the rheumatism attacked the heart, and the death resulted in a very short time. She is survived by a daughter, Miss Lillian, an only child, and a brother, Charles Terry, who remains in Sayre. The remains will be brought to this place for interment by the side of her husband in Sunnyside Cemetery, with services at the residence of the Honorable E.M. Phillips. Ah, man. Good old Phillips. Hi, Binka. Oh, it's... Man, today's research has been an emotional roller coaster. Little bit of a trigger warning, because it's been very heavy with this one. The person above me that we're researching, her name is Lillian Heckman. And to sum it up quickly, basically, we discovered that, first of all, her parents passed away while she was still a teenager. Her father died when she was 15, and her mother died when she was 18. And then she did get married to a man named Austin S. Smith in 1906, not 1900 Smith. And then basically they met because, I don't know if I have it here. Because they met because they both were they worked at the telephone company. She was an operator and he was a bookkeeper. Where's the article that like talks about their marriage? I have so many. Got so many of these things going right now. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Telephone connection. Austin S. Ruth, bookkeeper at the Taconic and Wyoming Valley Telephone Office, and Miss Lillian Heckman, switchboard operator at the same place, took their friends somewhat by surprise yesterday by going to Wilkes-Barre to get married. So yeah, so they were working together there, but unfortunately, and again, this is where it gets very emotional and heavy. Lillian contracted tuberculosis in 1907. And then at the same time that she contracted tuberculosis, she also got pregnant. And about a few months later, in January of 1908, she gave birth to twin boys. However, likely because of complications because of the tuberculosis, both of the twins unfortunately passed away a few days later. And then Lillian passed away about a month after she gave birth because of complications from the pregnancy and it exacerbating her tuberculosis. Yeah, very, very emotional. And then on top of that, I just discovered before you got here that after this happened, her husband, Austin, unsurprisingly, less than a week after her funeral, he quit his job at the telephone company and moved back to his hometown. Likely and moved away from the house that they had just moved into. Likely because he couldn't work there anymore because that's where they met. And then on top of that, and this is I actually got this is the only time I've gotten a little bit teary-eyed on stream, researching something like this, because on top of this, I found here that after all this happened to him, he would go back to where they lived, to Taconic, Pennsylvania, and specifically he would go back and visit here where it says Austin Ruth is visiting friends in town for a few days, the guest of Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips. And that got me emotional because Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips took in Lillian when her mother passed away. So after her passing, they are still supporting him. And, with everything that's happened to him. God, I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Ah! Oof, wow. This is getting me. It just shows, just a human. Yeah, exactly. Everybody connecting more together. And then also on top of this is the other reason why Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips, if you remember, because you were here on Sunday stream. I don't know if you remember this. Mr. and Mrs. E.M. Phillips were the same people who helped Leslie that we researched on Sunday when her father passed away. And her mother was having trouble taking care of her, where Mr. E.M. Phillips became her guardian. So I honestly kind of want to start researching the E.M. Phillips, because that is, yeah, they helped so many people. I know he was a judge, because he's called Judge E.M. Phillips a couple times. But yeah, this has been a crazy roller coaster, and I think that is, I think we've kind of researched everything that we can with this one. Because I don't think there's really much. We've kind of found everything that we can, because, Also, I do know that Austin, he did remarry. He did remarry. In fact, this is him right here. Look at that guy. That's him. We do know that a few years later he would remarry and have a kid. But I did notice that his kid wasn't, I know he was I couldn't find his second marriage certificate. But he was married sometime between 1910 and 1918. Oh, and the other thing that got me sad too was the fact that in the 1910 census, this is 2 years later, he's living with his parents. Again, he moved back into his parents, and he's still not working. So it I think just shows how much he was mourning and everything. But by 1920 by 1918 he does marry again, and by 1920 or 1919 they have a child. And I think, I mean, I can't 100% prove this, but my personal theory is that maybe he waited to have a child again, even though they were married for a few years, because of what happened, to him before. I can't imagine that, going through something like that and the thought of having kids again can just cause a whole bunch of just reopening that trauma and just basically almost like PTSD from something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're let's see. That's where we're gonna end it today. Hello, Warthrone. Oh, you got recommended me from another historian VTuber. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, well, thank you. Hey, welcome. Unfortunately, you are you are reaching us right as I'm about to end stream. Oh, but I need to hold on. Yeah, right at the end. But thank you so much for being here. Just to give you a little bit of a quick summary. What time do you normally start? So I stream officially every Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and normally go about like 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. Sometimes I do guerrilla streams every now and then playing games, but for these like research and like history streams, we do them every Wednesday and Sunday. And just as a quick actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to our home screen, to our classroom, and I'll just give a little spiel there. So here we go. Oh, sorry. Sorry for the... sorry for the Victorian child jump scare. This is what I've been researching. I bought this photo at an antique store. It's a photo of 24 kids at a birthday party. And I'm trying to find all of them in the historical record. And I'm doing that because we have the names of all of them on the back of the photograph. And so far we found 15. We found 15 of them after today. But we still got 9 more to go. But yeah, so this is... Yeah, and he survived the child labor. I mean, thankfully, well, I mean, in this case, a majority of them are actually kind of kids from like more like upper class families, from what I can tell. And we have had 1 or 2 that have died in their teens. From sickness, but yeah, they caused the child labor. I mean, it's more not so much. None of them are like mogul, like own railroads or like mines or something like that. They're mostly all like lawyers and doctors and stuff like that, priests, pastors, things like that. I might catch you more on the Sundays, but it's been amazing hearing the results of the research. Thank you, Binka. It's great to hear that. I'm glad that people are enjoying this. I'll try to catch Sunday because I was recommending because I was talking about going to college for history to do museum work. And hey, you're actually, that is exactly what I did. Well, actually, not exactly. Initially, I wanted to be an archaeologist, and then it was while in college I discovered that I switched career ideas of going from archaeology to museum work. Yeah, so because I have a double major in history and archaeology. Um, so yeah. I have no idea what era to get a degree in right now. Hey, I mean, um, you still got, oh, well, okay, are you in college right now? I'm guessing. I have a friend who is doing history, poli-sci, with a minor in German. Okay. That's a good one. Not right now. I restart in the fall. I took a break. Oh, okay, yeah. That's good. Figure things out. Yeah, I mean, hey, I would say this is what I would recommend, especially if like you're not 100% sure what you want to do. When you're starting, obviously I don't know what type of school you're going to and stuff like that, but if you can, just take a wide variety of things. Cast a wide net your first semester. Okay, so a bigger university. I'm biased towards ancient history, but there's gems in all eras, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, exactly. Because my focus was mostly, well, I did study. I mostly studied. I had like two different eras, and for my archaeology degree, I had to study more ancient stuff. So like ancient, it was mostly like ancient Near East, stuff, ancient Near East and ancient Greek and ancient Roman. And then for my actual history degree, my focus was American history. So like from like pre-contact or up to like Civil War was like my time period that I really like. I'm researching for a book I am looking to write in college, but also World War II is a basic answer. Yeah, I mean that's a common interest. Is the book about World War II? Oh, and your uncle helped co-run a museum. Oh, hey, you got an in then. That's way better than a lot of museum people have. Because a lot of museum people, they struggle to get internships or connections or something like that. If you already have a connection like that, you're golden, man. If you specifically want to get into the museum field. And a friend of his is the co-owner. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Yeah. Oh, it's in Florida. Okay. They do ancient history. Okay, yeah. I mean, if that's basically, again, I would just say like as a museum person, my main in was a connect from an internship. Exactly. Yeah, that's how a lot of it goes. It's a lot of museum work. Getting a job in museums is a lot of who you know and networking, honestly. The museum that I work at now, I didn't have a lot of connections, really. I was just kind of lucky. But it took me 9 months after grad school to find a full-time job in a museum. So, like, if you have that type of connection, I would go for it. Including North America's largest collection of pre-Columbian artifacts, features exhibits on ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, the Americas, alongside dinosaurs. Wow, yeah, yes. Yeah, Encyclopedic Museum, that's a... encyclopedic museum, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, so I would say, Warthrone, that for your first semester, if you can, cast a wide net. Look at the class list. Try to take things that really are interesting to you. See if you can find something, and see if you can find something that clicks. And don't panic if you can't. That's my other thing. Just keep trying new stuff if you can. Like, that's kind of my advice, I would say. Oh shoot! Wait, are we in ads? Oh, I forgot to hit. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it! I got.
Wow.
Whoa! Warthrone, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing. You didn't have to do that. I know. Hey, I hate ads too, but wow. All right. Thank you so much, man. I greatly appreciate that. Um, but anyway, yeah, I guess we can continue where we left off. But thank you so much, man. I greatly
Wow.
appreciate that.
What a beauty.
Binka, what are you doing? I was just about to end. What are you doing? Oh, thank you guys so much, man. I really greatly appreciate it. Like, I don't do this for subscribing or the money or anything. I do this, just for fun. Like, I barely thought anybody would want to follow, let alone subscribe. So thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. To get my English stuff, add other stuff about the war. I hate English. Yeah, I mean, okay, so my main thing is I want to do travel work. Okay, yeah, so like traveling to different. Yeah, I mean, I love traveling too. Um, and that's the thing too. I actually, as much as I do like history and stuff, and doing this research, uh, I, I hate. I don't like writing. Mostly because I'm very slow at it. I'm not one of those people that can just like write and just um word vomit onto a page. Like when I write for in my head, I have to, like, it has to be perfect the first time. Like that's how I write. So it's like I'll spend so much time on like one paragraph, and that slows you down so much. I've tried to fix that, but it doesn't always work out. uh, Also gonna have access to cool emotes. Hey, yeah, you do. You guys now have access to some of the coolest emotes around. Travel history and reading travel accounts for research can be. Oh yeah, definitely. The good thing is I know guys who do history work as well. One is an official historian for the Marines. Also about autobiographies and memoirs. So I might do something related to the psyche. Okay, yeah. Yeah, man, hey, you got all kinds of great connections. So I would definitely, use those to your advantage. You are already way more connected in this field than honestly probably I am in some cases. But yeah, so hey, I've it feels like cheating is to use I mean, hey, you just it's I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's very uh it's just something you sometimes you got to use that to your advantage. It's like, how Binka was talking about how internships, got them connections to their job, Networking is like the main way to get jobs in today's economy for better. Yes, honestly, it is. It really is. It's super important nowadays. Some I made myself via overseas stuff. Others through meeting through family stuff. Yeah, I mean, well, hey, actually, my first museum internship that I ever got before I even knew I wanted to work in museums, when I was after my freshman year of college, I got an internship at a local county museum near my hometown, and I got that because my friend's dad volunteered there and did like their financial stuff, did their bookkeeping and stuff like that as a volunteer, and he recommended me, and that's how I got that internship. So the good thing is no student that through the VA through my that's perfect. My goal is to work for the Smithsonian or United States Marine Corps Museum after college. Hey, yeah, those are so the only thing I will say about the Smithsonian thing and like museums like that, specifically federal institutions right now, without getting, I don't like talking about like current events and politics and stuff like that, like modern stuff, but I will just say with how things currently are right now, a lot of those museums are not hiring. Like federal institutions are really not doing great right now, and museums are really struggling right now for a lot of reasons. The good thing about no student debt is the shit start pay doesn't mean I'm screwed. Yeah, no, that is very big that you're not going to have any student debt. I had a little bit after grad school, but I was thankfully able to pay it off pretty quickly. Because I'll never forget on my master when I was in one of my museum studies classes in grad school, one of the heads of the program, basically walked on the very first day of orientation, walked up to like in front of everybody and said, "If you are here to make money, leave now, get out." If you are here because you want to make money or be financially stable, get out. Go to the law school next door if you want to make money. Because nobody goes into the museum field to make money. They do it because they're passionate. Yeah, going to try to work overseas. I'm going to try to do an internship in the UK if possible. My college does overseas stuff. Yeah. As you can see, I'm not going to be an English major. Hey, no, that's all right. It's typing on Twitch. That's nowhere near the worst thing that I've seen. Yeah. I realize that I won't have money or a big house, but if I can afford my hobby, I'm golden. I collect military antiques in my spare time. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, that's all that matters for a lot of people, you know? Just like education, you gotta do it for the love. Yeah, exactly. You gotta do it for the love of the game. And I do love what I do, and I do love my job. Okay, something else. I don't know. I mean, obviously you're doing undergrad stuff right now, and I'd definitely go with that. But if you want to go a step farther, there's another possible, like, I don't know if you want to get a master's like in museum studies or something like that, because a lot of people do that. What I would recommend, especially with today's the museum environment right now, I personally wouldn't recommend getting a museum studies degree, master's degree. I would instead recommend getting a library science or archival science degree, because that has a way more wide net and a way more wider job pool compared to a museum studies degree. Because a lot of people who have archival science and library science degrees end up working in museums and archives anyway. So, yeah. So I'm going to figure out my 4 years stuff first because the VA only covers 44 months. Okay, yeah. I'm using a lot of it for the year at the community college. Yeah, hey, yeah, you know, that's so far down the line. So, yeah, and meet with advisors. You still got plenty of time to figure stuff out. Like, it's my other advice I would say is just like, don't ever feel like you have to like don't feel pressured to make like decisions quickly, or like you have to figure everything out now. That's a better way to put it. Don't feel like you have to figure out everything now, because there are still plenty of there's still plenty of time to make decisions, change careers, you know. I mean, my mom, she went back to school in her 50s, you know, and got her bachelor's degree. So it's never, and my dad switched careers in his 50s as well. You know, complete shift of careers. So it's, you know, it's never too late to change things up. Gonna go to college for logistics at first for my first semester. Yeah, I mean, you gotta figure things out first. All right, I just realized I've had the terrifying Victorian children on screen this whole time. I'm gonna take those off. Sorry about that. And make myself a little bit bigger here so you can actually see my office. But yeah, I think I do have to, unfortunately, this is where I think I'm gonna have to call it. But thank you guys so much for being here. McGraw-Hill is the devil. I actually am not familiar with it, so I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. I changed my major 4 times throughout my 6 years college tenure, so changing majors is definitely doable multiple times. Yeah, and I thankfully, I thankfully, I think I stayed pretty much the same my whole time, but I knew plenty of friends who, they're a college thing. I don't remember They're online, but maybe I did. They're online books and only courses. I mean, I don't know if it's just because it's been like over 10 years since I was in, like, joined college. Maybe they, maybe they weren't around yet. Oh God. Oh, you're making me feel. Don't say that. Warthrow, stop it. Don't say that. Don't say that. I don't want to turn to dust, man. Oh God. Good God. Oh God, someone called me. I think you're the first person to ever call me Unc before, because I normally I'm like at my work, I'm the young person. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah, I got. Hey, I never had a Nokia phone. And I didn't, or my parents had iPods. I never had an iPod. My parents had one. Sometimes I would borrow it. Hey, I remember when the iPod Touch came out and my friend had it, and they had the stupid apps where it was like the thing that would fill up with soda and then you pretend to drink it because that was the coolest thing you could do with it. Hey, PS2. That's crazy you bring up PS2. I still have a PS2, and I was actually playing it last week, playing Lego Star Wars 2, a classic, you know. First console was an Xbox 360. Actually, Xbox One. Oh God. Yeah, back when they mumbled, when it was better, in my opinion. Back when they didn't. It was better when the Legos didn't talk. All right, we're getting off track again. To be honest, my brothers are in their 30s. Hey, I'm younger. Okay, I'm younger than your brothers. I'm at least younger than your brothers. I'll say that. So Sunday, yes. All right, yeah. So thank you guys again so much for being here. If you are new here, I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. I do these streams every Sunday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Standard Time. I also have a oh God, again, I can't believe. I'm sorry. We're throwing you've thrown me off so much with this. I've never been called Unc before, and I don't remember Y2K. I was young enough that like I was alive, but I don't remember it. I'll just say that. But yes, my birth year does start with a 1, okay? Yeah, all right, I'm gonna stop before you keep roasting me. But yeah, next stream officially will be Sunday. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do one. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do a stream this weekend, like on Saturday or Friday, where we'd probably play Stardew Valley. But yeah. Also, I have linked down below my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. I actually just uploaded a new short where I talk about some of the things that we found on stream and stuff like that. So if you want to check those out, that's linked down below. Also, I want to advertise my 1 week from today. Next Wednesday will be a very special stream that I highly recommend you guys, if you can, show up for. It's going to be very fun, very special. It's not going to be a research stream. It's going to be something different. No, it's not a 1-year stream. That's actually in August. But it's just, I'll just say, if you look at the date, it's going to be a special stream next Wednesday. So, and you'll see what it is. I'll post some. I'm going to post a couple things. I'll put some things up on my Twitter, like some teasers in Blue Sky. No insect consumption stream, no promises. That was one time, okay? That was my one. That was last year's anniversary. Last year's anniversary stream, where I ate a bunch of weird candy. Oh yes, I do have a blue. I keep forgetting to link my blue sky on my channel page here, but yes, I do have a blue sky. Yes, the paintings are both the same guy. They are paintings of Sir William Johnson. He's actually English. Actually, he's not French. Samuel Johnson is his name. He was an English poet and writer. Yes, Blinking Samuel. Yep. Yeah, that's the. It was a. God, it was a. Back in the day, Warthrone, this was a meme. This was a meme like 10, 12 years ago. That got like semi-popular online, and I didn't want to pay for a PNG. So I figured, why not use something in the public domain? Because I have no art skills, and because I work in a museum, barely any money to commission one. I don't know if it was popular on Vines. It was maybe popular on Tumblr, but I wasn't on Tumblr, so I don't know. Isn't Vines like old TikTok? Oh God, you're killing me, Smalls. Oh God. All right, I'm gonna find somebody to raid. Let's see. Let's go ahead and find someone to raid. Who is live? Let's see. I did read them recently. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and raid Hara Ray Soul. She's actually another museum worker. So we'll go ahead and raid them. She's playing War Thunder, so it's going to be a very different type of stream. A very crazy, like, tone shift from what we've been doing. I actually don't know how old she is, so, you know. All right, hold on. Let me get the raid message going. And then one for followers. Oops. All right. So yeah, thank you guys again so much for being here. This has been today was a crazy roller coaster of a stream. But yeah, we will be here definitely Sunday. We'll be continuing this research. But I don't think I'll be able to stream a different time this weekend, but who knows? Sometimes it happens, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night wherever you are. And I will see you guys later. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.